So, in the last class we were discussing regarding the types of distribution. So, where type and means you have to be very careful. If they are asking types of distribution, you have to write continuous distribution, discontinuous distribution, and bipolar distribution. And if the term is means of distribution, it is basically what are the different methods used by animals to cross the land barrier or ocean barrier, etc. So today we will be mainly focusing on means of dispersal or means of distribution. Under the means of distribution or dispersal, what we have to understand that animals are using different types of abilities. All animals do not spread across sea or other barrier with the same speed. Some spread faster and others slowly, and some do not cross the barrier. For example, if there is a ocean or a sea between two land area, if an animal has good swimming ability, it can easily cross that barrier. If the swimming ability of an animal, like human beings, we are not very good swimmers compared with other animals. So we cannot cross a large or a lengthy ocean barrier or a sea barrier. Therefore, the distribution also depends on animal's body size, physiology, psychology, reproductive rate, locomotory, or for example, bigger the animal, they have better ability. Then psychology, that is the willpower of the animal. Some animals may not be interested in crossing a desert. Some animals may not be interested in crossing a water body. Then reproductive rate. Animals usually having higher reproductive rate will have a higher distributional rate or dispersal rate. Then what are the different types of locomotory? Locomotory organs means organs which are used for walking or running, like legs or flippers, etc. Then the physiological endurance. Endurance means capacity or strength. And some means to carry them to a long distance. For example, there are some animals or birds like Arctic tern. Arctic tern can fly around 12,000 kilometers in months from northern pole to going to till southern pole. Some means of, and where we are going to see what are the different means commonly used by animals for moving from one area to another area. So here we have a picture diagram or a map showing the land bridges of the world. What is a land bridge? For example, between this North America and South America, today we are finding a land bridge known by the name the Central American land bridge. So animals from North America can easily pass into South America through this land bridge. And similarly, there was a land bridge here. That is known by the name in the Bering land bridge. Now this Bering land bridge is below the sea, and that there is a gap between them. But several million years back, there was a land connection here, and that land connection was known by the name Bering land bridge. And from that, North American animals were moving into the south. For example, horse. And similarly, the camel, which was originated here in Africa, from Africa it reached the Asian continent, from Asia it reached Northern America, from Northern America it moved into the Southern America. So this is the route taken by the camel. Then here also we can find a land bridge. There is a land bridge here. Then this is another land bridge. For example, from India or Burma, there is a series of islands. These islands were sometimes connected with each other, and from these islands, animals were able to reach till Australia. Now there are a lot of gaps here, but during certain periods of time, these land bridges were above the sea level, so that animals were able to cross from Asia and reach up to Australia. So these are the prominent land bridges which exist at different types of the world. So basically a land bridge is a land connection between two large land masses. Here you can say this is a land mass, this is another. a land connection between two large land masses or two continents which are separated by sea that may have existed in the past and facilitate the movement of animals. And that is what we are seeing in the case of this Northern America as well as Southern America. Then the theory of land bridge was formulated to explain away discontinued distribution of animals in continents that are presently separated by thousands of kilometers. For example, now if you are taking that, take the case of camel. There is a camel in Africa, there is a camel-like animal in Asia, there is a camel-like animal in Northern America and also in Southern America. So only by adopting a theory like this, we will be able to explain the presence of these animals in widely varying separated land areas. Then the ostrich, similarly lungfishes also. Lungfishes is also something like that. They are present in South America, Africa and Australia. Then there are several species of marsupials are also there. Then alligators are there. They are present in America and also in China. Now basically we are finding two different types of land bridges which we have to understand. One is corridor bridge and other is a filter bridge. Now let's see what is a corridor bridge. These are land connections of continental size stretching across ocean and connecting to continent. For example, this is a corridor bridge because it is connecting to a large continent. That is why we are calling it as a corridor bridge. Land connections of continental size reaching across ocean and connecting to continent. When a single continental mass called Gondwana land exists in Mesozoic, all the southern continents like South America, Africa, Australia, Antarctica, they were connected by huge corridors through which animals could easily migrate. You may be remembering a picture like this one. See, here you can see that all these continents were now together. That was the case around 250 million years back. And then the entire Earth has a single continent and that was known by the name Pangaea. After 250 million years ago, then before 250 million years ago, there was a splitting of this continent into two large groups. This most of the Europe and the present day Russia was together and that was known by the name Laurasia. Whereas the South America, Africa, India, then Australia and Antarctica. These continents were also together as a separate group and that was known by the name Gondwana land. So this was the case for a long time. Then it was after a long period of time that the Earth has divided into so many different continents. Then the continuity of southern landmass can account for the distribution of marsupials, lungfishes, flightless. For example, lungfishes were present in Africa, Australia and Antarctica, Australia as well as South America, because these three continents were together. Now it is separated from each other, but before 250 million years back, there was a land connection between these three continents. So that was the reason why lungfishes are present in three different continents. Then we go to the sea. This is also another, and this was the case before 225 million years ago. There was a gradual splitting, and by 150 million years ago, this was the case. Here you can see that Africa and South America are together, and then after 150 million years ago, around the period of 100 million years ago, the splitting was more wider. The South America gradually moved away from Africa. Then the present state is also shown here. So this, see, for a long period of time, Antarctica and Australia were together. See, you can see that. And that is the reason why there are so many similarities between animals in Antarctica or fossils found in Antarctica as well as in Australia. Now also you see, for example, if you take the position of India, this is the equator. India was far away from equator for a long time. See, this is a 23 degrees south latitude. India, the position of India was below that. That is, India was in a colder climate for a long period of time. Then only it moved into this present day position. Now India is above the equatorial line. Equatorial line. So this is the case of continents at different times of the period. Now there is a very famous corridor known by the name Panama Corridor. Panama Corridor is this corridor that connects the North America and South America, and the most important country in there is the Panama. Then there is Costa Rica is there, Nicaragua is there, Honduras is there, Belize is there, and Guatemala. These are the different, which are very small countries, and there is San Salvador is another small, El Salvador is another smaller country. Even though a small area, it is actually occupied by several countries. Now in the case of Panama, there is now the Europeans, basically the construction of this Panama Canal was started by Europeans. Then I think for some period of time Spain has invested a lot of money in that. Finally the construction was completed by American companies were finally finished the construction. What they did is that they dig a canal here, and this canal is known by the name Panama Canal. So the importance of this canal, so during the Cretaceous period and early Paleocene, North America and South America was connected by a narrow corridor through which animals migrated to south, and marsupials and early placentals such as condyle were the ancestors of, this ungulates means the horse-like animals. Now what happened to this Panama corridor is that around the Paleocene, after the Paleocene period, that is between 55 to 65 million years ago, this corridor submerged. See, now here you can see that there is no land connection here. Before 100 million years ago, this is the North America and this is the South America. There is no land connection between them. Now what happened here is after the Paleocene that is around 55 million years ago. Before this 55 million years ago, there was a short period of time during which America and South America were connected. But before 55 million years ago, this connection again disappeared, and what happens is that two continents again joined together in the Pliocene, that is around 5 million to 2.5 million years ago. That what we are seeing today like this has actually happened around 2.5 to 5 million years back. Before 5 million years back, there was no land connection between North America and South America. So before 100 million it was the case. Then nearly by around 50 million years ago, a land connection came into existence. Then after some time, land connection again disappeared. Now the present land connection came into existence around 2.5 million years ago. So that was the case that they are explaining here. And it was through this land bridge, monkeys, rodents and placental carnivores were migrated from southern America to the northern America. So this is the land connection which is shown here. So these are the different type of animals which have crossed and finally evolved into. For example, from one common ancestor, different type of animals have evolved. That is what they have shown here. Now, so there are two types of land bridges. One is what is called corridor bridges, basically very large bridges. Then second type is the filter bridges. In the case of filter bridges, here I have shown earlier that filter bridges means actually are formed of series of islands between two land masses that allow some animal to spread across but stop others. For example, a very good example of filter bridge is this one, this bridge. For example, this land bridge from India or Myanmar to Australia is actually formed of several smaller islands. So only those animals which can walk and for swim for some time will be able to reach from Asia till Australia. So they need good swimming ability and they also need good walking or running ability also. So that is acting as a filter. Only with the animals with the good physiological capacity will be finally reaching the Australia. That is why they are acting as a filter. So this is known as a filter bridge. Filter bridge are series of islands between two land masses that allow some animal to spread but stop others. Animals which are having good ability to swim or walk will be able to cross these island bridges or which we call as a filter bridges, and animals could spread by island hopping. Hopping means jumping. When there is a smaller island here and there is a gap of ocean there, those animals which can swim can easily cross that island and reach the next island. So only those animals will be able to reach the final destination. So this they will be doing either by swimming or flying or rafting. Rafting means changada, or moving on a small wooden board or by the action of wind. So these are the different methods by which animals move from one area to another area. A filter bridge now exists between Oriental and Australian region through Wallacea. Wallacea means this region is known as the Wallacea. This region is known as this entire region is known as the Wallacea. Then what that we have seen is that, so the two regions separated by, because if you examine this Oriental region or Asian region, Australian region, we can find that there is a chain of islands which are separating this Malayan archipelago, and it is difficult to determine which island belongs to this region. Then Bering Strait is another chain of islands that served as a filter bridge. Here you can see this is the Bering Strait. This is the North American continent or Alaska, and this is Asia or the northern portion of the Russia, which is the Siberia. Here also there are series of smaller islands. You can see that. By crossing or jumping through these smaller islands, animals from Siberia will be able to reach Alaska, or animals from North America can reach into the Asia. So such bridges are known by the name filter bridges. Filter bridges are actually formed of series of smaller islands. And second example of filter bridge is Bering Strait or Bering Land Bridge. Now during the late Cretaceous, Africa got disconnected from Eurasia and was surrounded by sea on all sides, and perhaps had a filter bridge in the north which lasted till Oligocene. See here you can see that this is the African continent. I will show you this one. See, this is the African continent. See, now there is a land connection here between Saudi Arabia and this portion of the Africa. Now, but this land connection between Africa and Europe or the Middle East came into existence only several million years back. Before that, there was no land connection. Africa was also almost like an island continent. So that is the case of different types of filter bridges. Then arboreal primates such as lemur and other cross arrived in Africa from Palearctic through this route. For example, many animals like primates and lemur, then the prosimians. Prosimians means monkey-like primitive animals, and insectivore. All these animals reach Africa actually by crossing through this land bridge. So monkeys, lemur and many other animals have actually evolved in the Asia and European region. From the European region, they were able to reach Africa by crossing through this land bridge. So that is the case of Africa. Then we have another, see, this is the Bering Land Bridge. We can see that many animals like mammoth were able to cross through the Bering Land Bridge and finally reach here. Here you can find a rhinoceros from North America and they reach South America. Then mammoth is another example. The reindeer is another example. So all these animals were able to cross North America cross the Bering Strait land bridge and finally reach the Russia region. So this is another. Then here also you can find that this is another land connection through this series of animals from even East Africa were be able to reach Australia. So another technique is sweepstake. Sweepstake simply means a chance. That is the meaning of the sweepstake, because several animals will be able to live on smaller floating objects like this. By simply remaining on top of this wooden bar or branch, small animals like insect or smaller lizards, smaller reptiles, etc., they can reach faraway oceanic islands very easily. That kind of technique is known by the name sweepstake, and sometimes natural rafts are also used for this kind of dispersal, and that is known by the name sweepstake. See here also you can find that. So animals can easily survive on a smaller floating island like this. Sometimes if you are traveling in a ship, you can find these kind of floating islands, very small floating islands with a lot of trees, and few animals may be also present in these floating animals. So this is a case of the the experiment which they have shown here. This actually happened in an island in New Zealand actually, and there was an island called Saddle Island. Saddle Island is a smaller island in New Zealand, and what the scientists were doing is that they introduced rats into a smaller island. First they introduced only 2 mice on a land. See, in the first case they introduced only 2 mice into an island. Now after 2 months, these 2 islands undergo reproduction and become 14 smaller mice. Then after 5 months, these 14 rats become 68 rats. Then and they were living there, and then after a period of so you can see that the what is the reproductive rate of these mice or rats, you can say, from one pair of mice or rat, the entire island can be populated by mice after a period of several years. So this is the case of population explosion that is taking place in the case of different types of animals. Then you can see the case of wind action is another important reason for migration. Smaller animals like birds can be taken by wind and can be put in a smaller island also. Then ballooning. See, this is a spider. What they are doing is that they will be releasing small web through their from their spinners, and this web will be very long, maybe 50 meters or 100 meters, and after some time the wind will be taking this island, by the action of wind it will be acting like a parachute, and the balloon and the spider will be taken by the wind, and it will be floating or gliding in the wind, and maybe reaching some faraway island, and that is known as a ballooning. Here you can find a picture of a cow that has been taken by a hurricane. A hurricane had taken that cow from North America and put it on an island nearby called Cedar Island. So we may be thinking that we have to think how powerful a wind like this can be. It can even take a human being or a bigger animal like a cow. Then birds can also take some animals and distribute it in different smaller islands like this. So that is another example of how the animals can reach faraway islands. Then human agency. Human agency is also responsible. For example, whenever a ship like this is moving, lot of rats will be entering into the ship, and when a ship is embarked or parked in a port, these rats will be getting out of the ship and will be entering into the island. So this is the method by which most of the islands were colonized by rats. So human agency is an important factor for the spread of many animals like dog, cat, rabbit, sheep, etc. Even if you go to Australia, we can find many animals like dogs, etc. And these dogs are introduced by human beings there. So this is an idea regarding the different types of methods used by or means used by animals. So you have to keep in your mind, one is the most common and most effective method is the land bridge. Then there is sweepstake, that is simply chance migration. Then there is an agency of wind and storms are responsible. Then another is by the action of birds and also by the action of human agency. So these are the 5 different type methods used by animals for migration. So you can